Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has only been the official, and technically I still think it's kind of unofficial because they haven't actually voted, but anyway, he's only been the Democratic vice presidential candidate for a handful of days, not even a full week at this point. And in spite of the fact that he's only been out there for 5 or 6 days, he is already leaps and bounds ahead of Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance in the latest round of polling. Now, the polling on Tim Walz, of course, at this moment is a little weird, right? Because the vast majority of people in this country did not know who he was. Most of us did not. So his polling, of course, only pertains to the people who already knew him or have gotten to know him in the day since, this poll was conducted. But here's what the data shows us. Right now, of the people who know him, which is a weird thing to say, Walz has a plus 15 approval rating, right? 35% said they approve, 20% said they disapprove. The other 45% said, I don't even know enough about this guy to have an opinion. So he does have a plus 15 point favorability rating. Maybe that changes as people get to know him. Maybe more people like him. Maybe fewer people like him. I don't think that's going to happen. But right now, he's at plus 15. J.D. Vance, on the other hand, since he was nominated by the Republicans, has seen his favorability rating drop by 19 points. He did get a 10-point bump after he was first nominated. And then after he got the 10-point bump, it fell by 19 points. So J.D. Vance now has a -9 favorability rating, which means more people say they do not like him than say they like him. So to wrap this all up in a bit of a bow here, Tim Walz is popular. J.D. Vance is the most unpopular vice presidential candidate since the year 1980. There has not been another vice presidential candidate at this point in a race that is as unpopular as J.D. Vance in J.D. Vance's own lifetime. Like, that's what's hilarious about this. You hold a record for your own lifetime of being the least popular vice presidential pick. So good for you, J.D. You can hang that little plaque on your wall, but that's a big problem for the Republican Party. You've already got a guy at the top of the ticket that has had a net negative approval rating since the day he came down that golden escalator. So when you have a vice presidential candidate who is even more unpopular than the guy at the top of the ticket, that provides no benefit at all. It just drags the already unpopular guy down even further. And that's what the Republicans are doing. Now, it should be noted here, because I do want to point this out, that a month and a half ago, and for the first 3 years of the Biden administration, Kamala Harris's approval rating was horrible. I mean, it hovered in the high 20s and low 30s. That, of course, now that she is the Democratic nominee, has totally flipped. She has an above water approval rating. I think the last I saw, she was at 59% favorable. So even her approval rating has shifted. Trump's has not. He continues to make things worse for himself. So things, and I'll say this for the millionth time this week alone, things are looking really good for the Democrats, and things continue to get worse for the Republicans. And let's hope that trend continues all the way through the voting in November. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.